Welcome to Save As Ability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Save As Ability. Today we're talking about disability inclusion in the workplace and unlocking potential for both employees and employers. So we've talked about this before, but I wanted to do a little bit of a deeper dive here with still keeping it pithy. So let's start with an amazing fact that there's a largely untapped talent pool of workers out there. And these are creative individuals who they're ready to contribute. Of course, we're talking about people with disabilities. And unfortunately, we know from past episodes and from the research and the data that around 2/3 of all working age people with disabilities are not employed. A large amount of them are not even in the labor force. So, there is an opportunity there. It's a two-step challenge, though. Step one, let's get people resolved to be in the labor force. Step two, get them employed. But we're focusing on the opportunity here today. So despite their disabilities, people with disabilities have talent. Remember, you can't have a disability without first having ability. We're positive here at Save As Ability, so we're focused on that. We're talking about businesses who have a tremendous opportunity to engage a new and mostly untapped talent pool to enhance their teams. It's about both the employee and the employer. And that's what we're talking about today, disability inclusion in the workplace. So disability inclusion is about proactively creating environments where people with disabilities can contribute and make an impact to the businesses, and the businesses can be better from their contributions and gain new perspective and innovate through problem solving that comes with people with disabilities. People with disabilities are natural born problem solvers oftentimes. So this can help make a stronger, more diverse workforce that is more inclusive. That's a good thing. It's a good thing for large corporations. It's a good thing for small business. We have data that shows that people with disabilities can be some of your best employees. So, businesses of all sizes can benefit from adding people with disabilities to their workforce. So I often get asked, though, what does disability inclusion actually look like, though, in practice, and how do you do it? Well, to me, it's surprisingly simple, and I've done it before as leading agencies and, advising companies and consulting. And so we're going to talk about a few areas. All right, the first thing is reasonable accommodations. Now, usually reasonable accommodations can be a little intimidating for employers. They think that, it's going to cost us all this money and everything else. Well, no, we have data on that. Job Accommodation Network, JAN, Ask JAN, which is a project put together by the Office of Disability Employment Policy on the federal government level. They did a study, and it indicates that most reasonable accommodations are free. And when it does have a cost associated to it, most of those are less than $500. So reasonable accommodations can be provided really at little or no cost. All right. And you're going to get a great untapped talent pool of people with disabilities. So that's really one of the foundational things we should think about here is from the employer and employee standpoint of view, providing that reasonable accommodation to be able to have those people with disabilities realize their full potential. Remember, they've got to be able to do the essential functions of the job, those essential job duties. Nobody's asking you to, bring people with disabilities on who can't do the job. No, we've had episodes about the meritocracy. We believe in merit-based hiring. People with disabilities can be part of that. So, some reasonable accommodations as examples could be things like providing flexible hours or modifying a workstation, offering assistive technology like a screen reader or voice-activated software, something like that. These small adjustments can be big gains for both the people with disabilities and the employer, who's going to now be able to get all that talent out of them just by providing that reasonable accommodation. So creating more flexible and open environments for people with disabilities is a good thing, both for the employee and employer. And so when you make inclusion a priority, you're not just checking a box. You can't have that mentality. You got to recognize that you're building a stronger, more diverse workforce. That inclusion can help your organization. It can certainly help the person with the disability. Okay? So another thing we want to talk about is how ways that companies can go about achieving disability inclusion. All right. So I've got a few things here. Number one, revisit your hiring practices. We want to make sure that your job postings are welcoming and not intentionally, certainly not intentionally, but unintentionally screening out people with disabilities. Sometimes job, duties were put together years ago when certain things were needed. Have you gone back and checked to see if those certain things are still needed? Maybe they're not needed anymore. And the things that were needed, the couple of things that were needed were screening out or weren't letting people with disabilities or being attractive to people with disabilities. I often use the example of, many job descriptions for governments years ago had that you had to be able to lift 60 pounds. Well, that's when you worked with cases of paper and we were all in paper. Now that probably doesn't exist. When does somebody have to do that? So if you can take that out of the essential functions of the job, now all of a sudden you're getting a whole group of people that maybe they can't lift 60 pounds, but they can do the other essential functions of the job. So, yeah, we want to be hiring on talent, experience, and capability and not making assumptions about what somebody can or cannot do. So there's great resources out there. Ask Jan, we give that out all the time. Also, there's their companion website, the Employer Assistance and Research Network on Disability. That's Ask Earn or EarnWorks. You can find them online also. So again, there's a wealth of resources out there, both for employees and employers, to create inclusive hiring processes. All right, number two, as we move along, we want to cultivate an inclusive culture. How we're going to do that? We believe that it's important to have your workforce representative of all people. That includes people with disabilities, right? So we want to create a space where everybody feels valued and included and has an opportunity to give on their natural talents that they have. You can't have a disability without having ability. So we're focused on ability. So having regular disability awareness training, having recruitment events in disability organizations and, making sure you're going into the communities where people with disabilities are looking for opportunities. So that's what we're about here at this Save Visibility, providing access to opportunities. Okay. So that's really the number two thing for employers is make sure you're providing access to the opportunities that you have in your organization. And finally, number three is really listen and learn. And one of the best ways to create an inclusive workplace is by engaging with potential employees, current employees. So do you have a mentorship program in place, an internship program in place? Are you identifying the people with disabilities in your organization now? Do you have an employee resource group for them? Are you, getting their input and asking for their feedback? All of those things can help bring sensibilities into your organization to make sure that you're proactively recruiting, hiring, retaining people with disabilities. That's a good thing. That can make your organization stronger. It can give you a competitive advantage when it comes to marketing your services or product. We have data, there's studies that show that organizations that show that they're inclusive of people with disabilities oftentimes have better customer bases of people with disabilities. All right. So again, to wrap up here, this is a win-win when it's done well. It's a win for the people with disabilities. It's a win for the employers, for both the employees and employers. It takes both. It's not just one side here. So again, this episode came from somebody who was asking a question about disability inclusion in the workplace. So disability inclusion isn't just about what businesses can do for employees, but it's also about what employees can do for the businesses. It's a two-way street there. So by embracing inclusion, we open the door to these fresh perspectives, new ideas, greater innovation. We've talked about that, how people with disabilities and problem solving can help bring innovation for your organization. So with 2/3 of working age people with disabilities not currently in the labor force or employed, We've got a ways to go, but we can do it. Let's work together. Change that stat. David D'Arcangelo, Save Visibility. I'm fired up as usual. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Help us keep great content flowing for you. Hope you're doing well, and I hope you have a great day. For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save As Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save As Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #TheNewRadio. Again, my name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.